I told you I was going to talk about the problem of the external world today. The problem of the external world is, like I said yesterday, is in his Our Knowledge of the External World book. He wrote a book that had that, and it was a thing about hard and soft data. So I'm going to go into what hard and soft data are today. Let's see. We have common knowledge, right? And then some of that is primitive, as in, well, first we have logical and psychological data. Okay. Well, I don't want to call it data yet, but I want to find a place where I can hold the camera. Anyway, we have logical and psychological knowledge. All right, logical being, a lot of you know what logical is in that, you know, logical does not require a psychological process. It can be done with common logical processes looking for consistency, logical consistency. And there's psychological, which requires you have to go psychological knowledge requires you having to go through some psychological process of figuring out whether you believe that or not. And then you have primitive and you have derivative. Primitive being like we mix the two. We have logically primitive, which means we don't have to go through very much logical processes to understand that I believe this is yellow. I don't have to go through that's logically primitive. I don't have to go through any logical process. And psychologically primitive means that I don't have to go through any long-term psychological process to understand that I believe something. So, but then if you have psychologically derivative and logically derivative, it's the same thing. So if it's logically derivative, I have to go through a logical process of understanding if what I'm believing is consistent, or if it's logical, to make sure that what I'm believing is not illogical at all. And psychologically derivative, meaning that I have to go through some process to make sure that I'm not believing something stupid, you know. But basically, he breaks this down, and basically the two most important things are hard and soft data. Soft data. I can't remember what soft data is. Okay, I'm just going to read from Russell here. We are thus led to a somewhat vague distinction between what we may call hard data and soft data. This distinction is a matter of degree and must not be pressed, but if not taken too seriously, it may help the situation clear. I mean hard data by those which resist the solvents of influence of critical reflection. Can't talk today, jeez. And by soft data, those which, under the operation of this process, become to our minds more or less doubtful. Okay, but that's him discussing what hard and soft data really are. But hard data is logically primitive and psychologically primitive, both logical and psychologically primitive data. The data of hard data is logically primitive and psychologically primitive knowledge. So, and then he has more to talk about hard data, but then soft data is logically primitive yet psychologically derivative. So it's like, let me see. You see this right now, right? You see this right now, and then you know that a yellow marker is here. I held this one up a lot, by the way. You know that this is there. Is it there now? Is there still a yellow marker somewhere? Is there? That's soft data, because you can't. Damn it. Okay. You don't know for sure if the yellow marker is still in existence anymore, just because you can't see it anymore. So that's soft data. You have to rationalize whether you might think that yellow marker is still there or not. What if I burn it just now, you know? And then more specifically, hard data. There's two hard datas. There's two kinds of data that are the hardest of the hard. There's logic, and and there's sense data. And then he gets to the problem of the external world, talking about logic and sense data.
Okay, we have the problem of the external world here. I'm just going to read from Russell here. We are now in a position to understand and state the problem of our knowledge of the external world, and to remove various misunderstandings which have obscured the meaning of the problem. Excuse me. Into various misunderstandings which have obscured the meaning of the problem. The problem really is, can the existence of anything other than our own hard data be inferred from the existence of those data?
So, having logic and sense data as examples of hard data that we can't really doubt that there's logic, and we really can't doubt that there's blue sense data here. We can't really doubt that. Is this thing on? Yeah, it is. I looked because I just filmed 4 minutes without having the camera turned on, so fail, facepalm. Anyway, the problem of the external world to Russell is, can anything be inferred from our own hard data that we can justify? Okay, everything basically spirals off from here. So basically, we have what he's referring to is there's so many issues. We have logic and sense data. We know that those are there, and we know that they're there. And then we have all these other epistemological and philosophical problems from this point on that we cannot figure out, or that we have not been able to really figure out or really answer. Such as, can we justify that, you know, like I said, can we justify if that this is still here after I take it away from your eyes? Can we justify that? Or can we justify certain things? Can we justify such as, is there something behind, you know, the sense data, or so many other things? Or can we justify or verify the things that are there? This is just spirals off from after Russell. All this spirals into something that I've talked about a lot, called logical positivism, and this includes people like Carnap and Neurath and Schlick and Ayer and Hempel, and then it all gets kind of killed by Willard Van Orman Quine. I've talked about him before, and basically it goes all the way until, I mean, it's still being debated today about, can anything other than our own hard data be inferred? And this continues on, like the positivists have the verification and the justification theory. Well, they had the verification because verification equals meaning, and it equals justification, and it equals truth. This is what they were talking about and all that stuff. And then Quine destroyed meaning, and then justification became a huge problem after Quine, and in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and about beyond, when we have Gettier and Feldman and Goldman and Bonjour and all these other people who talk about justification. So what I'm getting at here is that this problem of the external world is not really answered, and it's continuously debated. I've talked about specific things in the past 59 or 60 days I've been doing this orbit. So anyway, I'll keep talking about it, and I think I'm gonna go to bed now. So because my voice is failing. So I hope you have a great day, and comment below how you're doing, because if you don't, I'm gonna get really mad at you, because I'm really concerned. So how are you doing? That's my question for the day. How are you doing? Comment below, please. Anyway, I hope you have an awesome day.